Welcome everybody to my live Q&A. I'm answering all your questions here on anything to do with animal communication and healing. So I'm going to start with my glasses off. I got new lighting and the new lighting is glaring off my glasses. So anyways, I need them to see your comments. So whatever questions you have, you can start posting them and they will come across my screen and I'll be answering them for you. And I have an announcement to make just while we're getting rolling here. And this is really important. On October 30th, for 5 days straight, we're going to be hosting, I'm going to be hosting the Animal Communication and Healing Week. And I'm going to be doing 5 lives during that time and 5 days of lives that are going to be training. At the same time, we're also going to be giving away, I think it's over $3,500 worth of programs, products, etc. So you definitely want to mark the date of October 30th through the Saturday that follows that. And there'll be a live every day. They'll be at different times of the day, and they'll be teaching segments, and we'll be doing giveaways. So we're really excited about that, and you will find out more about it, especially if you're subscribed to our channel. So if you can hear me loud and clear, please let me know where you're listening in from. And for those of you in Florida in the path of the hurricane, our thoughts and prayers are with you. So let me know where you're listening in from, where you're watching from, I guess I should say, because you're watching me. And we're going to get going with your questions. So please, this is a live Q&A, so I'm here to answer your questions. So thanks. I see Lindsay's from MI, which I believe is Michigan. I'm pretty sure it is. I'm Canadian, so hey. Oh, we got a fellow Canadian from Quebec, Gatineau. So please start typing your questions as you have them. Oh, Pittsburgh, yay, hello. Tucson, Arizona, awesome. So yeah, let me know what your questions are and we will get going with them. And I don't know if you've had any emailed to Uriah. If you do, you can always text me them. And I know I always get so many, and I always say, come to the Q&A, because I have so many people that I can't answer questions all week outside of my private sessions and work. It's just too much. Oh, hi, Janet. East coast of Florida. That's probably a good thing right now that you're not on the west coast, because it's pretty brutal over there. I mean, on the panhandle, I hear. So yay, Raya's here, woohoo. So yes, if there's anybody who send me your hearts, I love it. I'm not sure what that means exactly. Getting some funny messages here. So please, any question you have, this is your time to get it answered. We are going to be sharing some links for some free trainings we have today as well later on during the course of this live. And we're also going to be, I wanted to mention to you, last time we did a live, which was 2 weeks ago, I talked about making another free offer that we can give you in our future lives, and that was for crystals to enhance animal communication, healing, and psychic development. We are working on that. These things take time because there's a lot of behind-the-scenes things that have to happen. So I want you to be aware that that is on its way. So hello, if you can hear me loud and clear, let me know where you're calling in from, and please start typing your questions. I want to get to them as soon as I can, and be able to answer all of them. I have one question from Julie, and that is about finding her, and this came in during the week, so I'm going to answer it now while I'm waiting for your questions to come through. Julie had emailed in and asked me about, her animal, hey, Canada as well, another Saskatchewan. Of course, I like, you know what, I'm starting now, they're starting to come really fast, so let me back them up a bit. I'll answer Julie's toward the end. She's not here, so I don't know if she'll even show up. I have a feeling a previous dog of mine is coming through my current dog. How do I know for sure? So that's from Lynn. And Lynn, you know, really what's most important is if you have that feeling, you are probably right. You know, we often discount our intuitive hits and our hunches and all of that and our psychic sort of animal communication, you know, information. But if you have that feeling, I mean, you know, what I would ask you, and you don't have to answer these right now, but what I would ask you is what makes you feel that way? And, you know, what I find is we get those kind of feelings when that is the truth. And the animal starts doing certain things that usually make us know that, you know, that they are there. And, you know, my Carly came to me as this tiny little Maltese, and then meanwhile I had read books on Maltese, and they said, oh, Maltese don't eat, you know, they might eat 3 or kibbles or something, or they're just tiny eaters and you have to be careful they don't get hypoglycemia. And mine came and she ate like voraciously, like a horse. And, you know, Jigs was coming through her. That was Jigs' favorite thing to do, my golden retriever. So I would say if you feel it's happening, it's happening. And don't second guess yourself. Just go with it and see where it takes you, because it always does take you somewhere else. Keep those questions rolling, guys. Gloria asks, my Miko, a ragdoll, passed away almost a year ago. I'm sorry about that, Gloria. She was 14 months. Will she return to us? So, I'm really sorry, and that's a very young age to pass, and I'm sure that was very devastating for you. And I would say that if you want her to return to you, you ask her, you speak to her with, you know, in your mind's eye or out loud, and you ask her to return to you, and you can give some specifics even if you wanted her to return through a certain breeder or in a certain area of the country or whatever. I would bet money on it that she will work with you. So there is a little, oh, hey, just a note to Raya, one of my team members who's on the call, and that is that the Seymour is working now on my phone. So that Facebook must have fixed their little problem. So another Lynn, we've had another Lynn ask a question. My cat Peaches died 2/19/2016, and I want to know the cause. Did she suffer and is she okay? She fought being put down, but I knew she was dying. So something like that would be more of a reading than just a question, because I would have to tune in. And when I do my sessions, I actually tune in from, I usually tune in for like half an hour. I get a bunch of information from clients. So we do have readings available with both me and with my senior associates. So that is something specifically like in detail like that I would have to do a reading for, or one of my students would have to, one of my senior associates. Jackie says, I lost my boy Sammy about 4 years ago, miss him dearly. I understand completely. It's really hard. I lost my Jigs, who was sort of behind all of this work, and in 2007, and I know how hard it is to lose our companions. But I want to share something. As hard and as gut-wrenching as it is to lose them, when we stay connected with their souls and spirits in the afterlife, that is when we have the greater, you know, that's how we can stay connected to them. They still have guidance and healing and teaching and love to share with us. The love that we share doesn't end with the ending of the physical. And really, our animal companions do not die the way we think about it. They morph into a new form, just like when we are ready to cross. So Raya left the link there for sessions if you happen to want one. And, you know, at some point in time, I may do some mini readings, but it would be a bit tricky. I'd like to bring the person up with me. Jackie says, a part of me went with him, best dog ever. And, you know, you can reclaim that part of you, and you can also reclaim the energy, you know, that love that the two of you shared. Carla says, my dog Sarge and cat Diesel both passed this year. Okay, anybody have some questions? What are your questions? What are your questions about? What kind of things do you want to know about animals, you know, animals crossing over, your animal companions when they're in your life? the kind of, and how to connect with them on the afterlife and reincarnation and all of that. Do you have any questions about that? Because if you do, just type them in. Okay, so here's a good one. And this, you know, this is, I'm able to answer this one specifically for Violet because it is a general one, as opposed to, you know, why did my dog die? I mean, I can absolutely talk to your dog about that, but it's a lot longer process. So Violet said, does my dog Rio forgive me? I had to put him down after he attacked my mom. I miss him still. And what I want to say, Violet, is I have never communicated with an animal in spirit that has not forgiven. They don't think of it the same way as we do. So, I mean, Rio wouldn't even think there's anything to forgive. They're just in complete acceptance and surrender of what is happening. And Rio's very easily able to come back to you as another being, okay, as all of our animals are. Okay, Tammy says, I'm getting a new puppy. The lady said she knew I was perfect for this baby. I saw this puppy and she felt, and she, oh, you feel that Sassy sent her to you. How do I know my Sassy reincarnated in this amazing little puppy? So, Tammy, there's, you know, reincarnation isn't exactly what we, the way we think about it so much over the last maybe decade or more. What I'm noticing is that your puppy may absolutely, Sassy may be a part of that, but Sassy may not be there 100% of the time, or it could be 100% reincarnation. But the way things work on the spirit realm is so different. So, you know, I feel like if you feel really strong about it, and if, you know, you can have a session with an animal communicator, you can communicate yourself, or you can just go by what you're getting, you know, and work it that way. So that would be what I would say, and I think that'll help. Jackie says, do they go to the Rainbow Bridge? So yes, I mean, that's something you basically, we can call it that. A lot of people call it that, but basically they're right here around us in our space. They're like right here. It's just that they're in a different dimension. So the dimensions are, this is the, you know, earth plane. Obviously there's other dimensions, and those dimensions aren't like up in the sky far, far away. They're right here with us, you know. So our animal companions are surrounding us all the time. Even those, you know, those in spirit, even humans in spirit, they're around us. They're not like miles and miles away. So you can call it the Rainbow Bridge, whatever you want to call it, but really it's just the spirit realm, and it's right here with you and I. So that's great. Susan says, I miss my sage. She was a Weimaraner. She visited me once. I miss her. How do you get them to come back? You talk to them, you ask them, you start connecting with them on a regular basis. In my animal energy certification training, we talk about how to call them in, how to stay connected. I mean, it's a, you know, 1 year plus process, but you can just talk to her in your mind's eye. You can talk to her out loud. You can talk to her in your mind's eye. You can find a way to start bringing her spirit closer and closer, and to start communicating more and more, and you will find that she will come to you. It may not be exactly in the way you think, but it'll happen. Jen asks, do they prefer us with them when they pass? And that's a really interesting question, Jen. And in many cases they do. In many cases they would rather us be with them. But again, just like humans, there's often a time when they wait till we're not with them, so they cross. You know, I've had dogs wait till their person goes on holidays to cross. You know, just like I know people who are sitting with someone who's clearly, you know, passing, and they're with them like every day and night for a week, and they go for a coffee, and that's when they pass. So sometimes it's different. My answer is that depends, and it depends on a variety of things, and so it's not always, but sometimes they do. Especially if it's euthanasia, you know, something like that. I'm not sure how you say this name, YNA. Yana, maybe? My brother has a beautiful German Shepherd and she got attacked by 2 other dogs this past weekend. Asking for prayers. She is doing better, but vet said she passed and came back during surgery. We are so thankful she is okay. Continue prayers for Nakira. We will all pray for her. That's a rough thing, and I'm glad, you know, her spirit wanted to be here. You know, that's the thing. I mean, they will do what they can to be with us. So if you're just tuning in, please let me know where you're tuning in from. Anna says, did you ever have a reading that the animal didn't want to talk or didn't give much information? That's a great question, Anna. And personally, I have not had an animal, I have not had an animal not willing to talk, but I have had some that have kind of, it's kind of like, what do you want us to call it? Like pulling teeth to get the information out. Just like people, you know, when you talk to people, there's often, sorry guys, I'm taking my glasses off and on because I have a new light now because it's getting so dark outside. I was just relying on the Arizona light. And it's no longer going to work at this time of day in Arizona. So anyways, so basically I've had some animals that were maybe a little stingy with what they said, but you know, upon further deciphering and interpreting of the information they gave, what I was able to really figure out is they gave everything they needed to give. So I really haven't had any where the animal doesn't want to talk. I find they're really keen on that. Carla says, I heard a noise in our driveway like Sarge running down there, but nothing was there. So that can absolutely be how a spirit visit manifests. They can manifest in so many different ways. So that's, you know, if you thought it was Sarge running down your driveway, chances are really good that it was, okay? Irene says, my dog just passed away last month. We're very sorry to hear that, Irene. But I can still feel her. Is this possible? 100% possible. Like I said, they are right here. They're like all around us. The spirit realm is not miles away. It's right here beside us. You can connect and talk to her for as long as you want. And one of the misconceptions is that when we are talking to them, that we're keeping them from other work, important work, and when they're in the spirit realm, they can do 5, 10, 15, 20, 1,000 things at once. It's not like the physical realm where we wish we could do that sometimes, but we can't. So don't feel that you're holding them back. No animal has ever, shared with me that it was a pain in the rear end to deal with their people who are now in the spirit, who are, once they're in the spirit realm, who are on this physical plane. So Raya posted the link for the Animal Energy Certification Training. I want to share that we do have 2 free webinars. Sorry, I meant to say webinars. I want to share that we have a couple of webinars. We have an Animal Communication and Healing webinar, and then we have a Psychic Development webinar. So we've got a couple of options for those of you who want to learn more. Oh, good question. Anna says, how do you prepare for a reading? Meditation, mantra, energy management, etc. So basically, there's a lot of things. Number 1, you want to be sure to be hydrated, well hydrated. That's number 1. Number 2, you want to ground yourself. So I have a whole grounding sort of ritual I go through. There's many ways to ground yourself. We also have a free grounding exercise for our animal companions, which I can talk about later. And if you want to get that, Raya will put a link in here at one point in time, for sure. But so we ground ourselves. That means really connecting our energy field with the energy of Mother Earth. We want to feel like solid, like an oak tree with roots that connect us down below. Whoops, I almost knocked my drink over. And we want to feel connected above. So first we do a grounding exercise and we pull our energy down and back so our energy field or aura is a nice compact bubble around us, and then we connect to the cosmic realm. So we're connected to the earth energies, we're connected to the cosmic energies, and I do a couple of other things for brain integration to make sure we're working equally from both brain hemispheres, and do some centering and call in our healing team, our guides, all of that, and then, we're pretty much ready. So that was a good question. Somebody says, Patricia says, have been close and been far away, but felt both. All good. Oh, Minot, North Dakota. Okay. I'm not sure what you mean about close and far away, but maybe when your animals passed, I'm not sure. I'll keep going. Yay, we got lots of Canadians, Illinois, Pennsylvania, Australia. Yay. Oh, Francois is visiting us from New Brunswick, and she said, thank you for everything. I enrolled in the AEC last September, but could only begin a few days ago. Can't wait to learn everything. So interesting. I'm thrilled that you're with us, and I've had other students in New Brunswick. Yes, Susan says it wouldn't be heaven if our babies weren't there to greet us. I agree 100%. Oh, Wendy says, I just lost my baby. My best friend at an early age of 4 last week. She is a pit mix that had a beautiful energy. She passed from leukemia. It happened so fast. Your information is very helpful for me right now. Thank you. Oh, I'm so happy, Wendy, that it's helpful. Check out my YouTube channel. If you put in Lynn McKenzie, Animal Communicator, you'll find lots and lots of videos that are really going to help you, Wendy. And I'm so sorry that you lost your baby girl. Irene says, is it possible for me to hear noises from my dog who passed? 100%. If you hear a noise and you feel that's your dog and it's, you know, it all makes sense to you, then that is how you know. So that's great. Let's see. Oklahoma here, love this. You're awesome. Oh, thank you, Susan. That's so sweet. Baltimore, Maryland. I think that's it. I'm Canadian, even though I'm living in Arizona. So I have my geography fairly well, but I'm not perfect at the short forms. Sometimes when it's, you know, some of those short forms like Maine is like something like ME or something, and I never get that. I think it should be something like MA, but anyways, keep your questions coming. I'm happy to answer whatever you have to answer, whatever you want to ask. And all about animal communication healing, you can ask psychic questions as well, questions about psychic development. I have an announcement. I mentioned it at the beginning. I want to be sure to mention it again. Mark your calendars for October 30th and for 5 days. So that would be the 30th, the 31st, the 1st, the 2nd, and the 3rd. We are having animal communication. We're having an animal communication and healing week. So it's going to be a 5 days from Tuesday through Saturday. And I'm going to be doing a live every day at different times. Some of them are going to be at 9 o'clock, some of them maybe at noon, some at 3, some at 5, right through the Saturday. And there's going to be some teachings during that week. And there's going to be something like over $3,500 worth of giveaways of products and programs. So I highly, highly recommend that you tune into that. Just stay posted with us. Here's a good question. Are there any food or drinks you avoid or recommend while doing psychic work? So here's the thing. Obviously, it's really, really important to avoid anything that is mind altering. Okay, so you don't ever want to do any kind of psychic work if you've had any alcohol to drink. And then, the other thing is, and I know some people who have talked about food addiction, and I never thought about food like this, but people can actually eat junk food and actually eat junk food and actually kind of black out from junk food. So if you happen to have a food addiction, you don't want to eat the kind, you don't want to do any binging, because binging will alter your state, or you don't want to eat too much sugar because all of that alters your state. So those kind of things are really important. Obviously, if you're allergic to anything or have sensitivities to it, it's not a good thing to eat before psychic work. You want to be as clear and clean a slate as possible. Patricia says, good to meet you, even though it's one way. Yes, good to meet you too, Patricia. Danielle says, Layla, my Great Dane female, gazes very deeply, gazes gazes very deeply and for minutes. When she sustains eye contact, I feel she wants to talk to me. How can I initiate contact with her? So I have a free mini training. It's called Making the Heart Connection with Our Animal Companions. And it is like a mini training on how to communicate with them. So Raya, if you could post that, that would be really helpful. And then Danielle, sign up for that, and that will start. And basically, I mean, and my advice from person to person is just begin doing it. Just do it. You can think it in your mind and say, you know, Layla, you know, what's up? What do you want to share with me? That kind of thing. And, you know, just begin the process with her. And it'll work. But our Making the Heart Connection with Your Animal Companions will really help you to do that. Jess says, I miss my monkey. She passed away July 20th. I hope she's not upset with me. I miss her. She was my heart. Jess, I want to share that they are, they're never upset with us. When our animals cross, they cross back into pure positive spirit. They are just like wonderful beings who are loving, who are, you know, caring, they don't have a care in the world, but they care for you and your feelings, and they like to support you. I've honestly never connected with an animal, and what my you know, my main practice, my focus was afterlife communications, the death and dying process in afterlife. When I was practicing more, now I'm mostly teaching and writing and that kind of thing. But that was my big practice. And so anyways, you know, I can guarantee you she wouldn't be upset with you. So don't hesitate. Keep the questions coming, guys. We must have a few less people on today than we had last couple of times, because I couldn't even keep up with the questions. They were going so fast. So yes, whatever questions you have, anything to do with animal communication, healing, psychic development, anything you want to know, you can type it in and we'll deal with it. You know, I get. Patricia says, a friend once said to me that the animals seemed to understand what I was saying. Patricia, I believe they understand what all of us are saying, and I believe really strongly that all we have to do is kind of tilt our impressions a little bit, our sort of like tilt our belief systems, our mindsets, our just how we visualize things, and we can do it. And that's a big part of the training, is learning how to kind of turn that piece on. Danielle says, can a human soul reincarnate into an animal? I believe so, 100%, Danielle. I know one of my mentors from back in the early 90s, Penelope Smith, who's written books in 24 languages, has told me that when her father passed away, he said he was going to come back as a Palomino horse as he was passing. And I've had animals share that they can switch species, they can switch, you know, from cat to dog, or dog to cat, or horse to cat, or whatever. And I believe that they can also switch with us. Their souls are similar to our souls. Raya just shared that in client care we had a question where someone wrote in, my cat is very attached to me and every morning I must pet her for 10 minutes at least or she won't leave me alone. The moment I wake up she is trying to herd me. Why doesn't she do this with anyone else? Well, she's obviously very much your cat. I don't know who wrote that, but anyways, she's obviously very much your cat. And, you know, here's the thing about animals, and here's the thing that I find so interesting about animals, is animals come to us by soul agreement or sacred contract for a specific reason. Okay, they come to us for a specific reason. So oftentimes it's to be on our healing team. It's to guide us on our path. I find that for those of us who have interest in the healing realm, in the animal communication, psychic realms, they come to help us with that. you know. And so I want to share that that when an animal is in a family, you might think you got a cat for you or a dog for yourself, and then that dog or cat may fall in love with your husband. So you, in some cases, are the vehicle for allowing another being to come through. You're the vehicle for allowing that being to come through for your husband in certain cases, or your sister, or your brother, or your mother, or your father, or whatever. But the animal, when they are here for one person, they make it extremely clear, and that is exactly what's happening with you, and it's pretty awesome. Raya, I just remembered something. I completely forgot to post this in any of the forums for Animal AECT, AEC2, and PBA. I can't believe that, but I did. So if you have a moment, maybe you could post it in the forum saying I'm live now, and maybe put the meme in there or something. Francois says, what do you think of CBD oil for dogs? My Bernese Mountain Dog has growing pains, and I don't want to have her on anti-inflammatory meds the vet prescribed. It's been going on since July. She will be 1 year old next year. I understand that can be really nasty, and some of the bigger breeds get that. And I've worked with a couple people who have. I think CBD oil is fabulous, but I want to qualify that with saying that just be very aware that any product you give your animals that's not developed for animals, that you clear it and be sure it's okay. Call the company. Ask your vet. Your vet's, like my vet doesn't, my holistic vets know about CBD oil, but my allopathic vets don't know as much about it. I mean, I'll share something my vet was saying to somebody when I was in the waiting room the other day. My puppy had surgery, but and the reason I say this is because some CBD oil for humans has xylitol in it for sweetener, and xylitol will kill a dog. And I know of a Yorkie that died from having CBD oil with xylitol in it, which is heartbreaking. So you want to be sure that you're getting one that does not have xylitol. Xylitol's even in peanut butter now. It's deadly, and erythritol. They're great sweeteners for people who are sugar intolerant like me, and I eat them, but I have to guard them with my life. A few grains could kill a small dog, or certainly damage a small dog. So you can't spill a crumb of what you're eating when it's got xylitol in it. So I think I would say 100% try it and see how it works. You know, there's different, the thing I know to look for is there's different strengths. I have one, I'm giving Pixie Rose like 1 drop of this, I think I have 500 milligram one by Source, I think it's called Source. But anyways, it's worth a try. It's absolutely worth a try. And you know, I was in the vet's office, like I mentioned just a couple seconds ago, and she was talking to some people, and it appeared their dog had been diagnosed with cancer. That's what I picked up anyways. And they said, what about CBD oil? And she said, you know, there's no scientific, evidence. I don't know if there is or not, but she said to me, we had another client, she said to them, we had another client whose dog had an inoperable tumor, and they gave the dog CBD oil, and they reported back to me that the tumor is gone. So, hey, I think it's worth trying for anything. Let's see. Patricia's saying her cat Louie disappeared. I had him for 10 years. Can you tell me what happened to him? I'm so sorry about that, Patricia. That's such a heart-wrenching thing to go through. And something like that would require a private reading. It's not something I can do right now. Excuse me. Connie says, my Jackson is staring at me. He's like a statue. That's so sweet. Okay, Carolyn says, I have several very close pets. We all communicate very well, but there are different degrees of communication. I can feel deep into their soul. It is so heartwarming. Yes, 100%. You know, I share this on my webinar, and you know, if you're just joining, we do have a couple of free webinars you can grab. I think Raya, my assistant, has put some in the thread. So at the end, they'll be posted under Animal Alchemy because she's in the Facebook doing this posting for me. So any posts you see that are from Animal Alchemy, that's our page, and there will be some free training, some free things you can sign up for, and that kind of thing. So take a look. And in one of the webinars for one of my free webinars, the Animal Communication and Healing webinar, I talk about a dog named Ocean. And this was a long time ago now. Ocean was 2 years old, and she passed away a number of years ago at 13 and a half. So you can imagine, do the math on that. It's like, so that would be 15. So about 13 or 14, 15 years ago. And Ocean was 2 years old, and she was starving to death. And I tuned in with her, and she told me it was her duodenum. And I mean, I was kind of flabbergasted, because it's like, wow, that's so specific. Oftentimes animals will go, it's my digestive system, or it's this, or it's that. And she had undergone so many tests. She was at a teaching university, seeing specialists, and undergoing all these tests. And she just went, it's my duodenum. And I just happened to be talking to her people. Actually, someone sent me an email and said, you know what, I watched your webinar and I signed up for your animal energy certification training because I know Ocean and I know her people, and she said it was so cool to hear that you know them, and that and it's so funny because then they called me for a session about 2 weeks ago, I guess now. And I was doing a session for them, and she said, hey, do you want some updated pictures of Ocean? Because the picture I had from them was from way back, and she was 2 years old, and they sent me some pictures, and she, it was so nice to see that even though she was dying at 2, her communication helped the specialist help her. And I mean, when they told, it's kind of a long story, but basically their specialist rolled their eyes when they, they weren't getting anywhere, and they finally said, look, we're going to contact our animal intuitive. And they were like rolling their eyes like, yeah, right, good luck with that one. And she came back the next week and said, for a next appointment, and said, our animal intuitive said it's a duodenum. And again, rolling their eyes kind of like, yeah, whatever. And then they did an endoscopy, and it was the duodenum. And she said to me right away, all of them, their jaws just dropped. And they all said, who is this person, and does she teach classes? So, not that all animals give that much, not that all animals give that much information. So Jana says that there are some CBD oils made just for dogs for that reason. And yes, 100%. And a lot of people I know, I've heard people who don't even know what xylitol is, say to me, you know what, I didn't buy the one for people. I didn't buy the one for dogs for my dog. I bought the one for people because it's cheaper. Because I think some of the dog brands the prices might be jacked up, probably because they sell smaller quantities of them. So the thing that I want to share, the important thing I want to share with you guys is that whenever you buy anything that's not made for dogs, double check it. It doesn't mean you can't. I mean, the smart thing to do would just be to buy the CBD oil for dogs, right? Obviously. And the one brand, like my dog is, my Carly, I have 2 dogs. I have Carly and I have Pixie Rose. So Carly is a almost 11-year-old Maltese, and she's diabetic. She's got quite a few issues in the last year of her life. And so Carly can't take, I really want to give her CBD oil because she's got aching joints, and because she's got such bad skin allergies, I don't want to get her on a supplement that might make her skin allergies worse. So I want to give her CBD oil, but she can't take the coconut oil, and most CBD oil is in a coconut oil carrier. So because she's prone to pancreatitis, which most diabetic dogs are, she can't take the CBD oil right now. But one of the brands that I'm aware of for dogs is coming out with one that's in a carrier that's not oil. So a pancreatic prone dog or diabetic dog can take it. And Janice says that most holistic vets would know. And of course. And you can also call any company if you buy something, because in my animal energy certification training, we have all kinds of really amazing professionals. We have veterinarians, chiropractors, doctors, psychologists, all kinds of different lay people, healers, psychics, whatever. And one of the veterinarians, she was watching what some people were posting, and, if your vet says it's okay to give your dog Benadryl, or it's okay to give your dog, Pepsid AC, well, if you go to the store to buy the Benadryl, and one of the ones that you're looking at is a generic brand, the generic brand does not have the same ingredients as the name brand necessarily. Usually there's some differences, and I've noticed this with the Peps that I see because they give a lot of diabetic pancreatitis prone dogs Pepcid AC, and it doesn't have the same ingredients. So you have to then check with a vet or with that company whether those ingredients are safe for a dog, because just because Benadryl is doesn't mean the generic is. So I'm just doing that as a public service announcement. Okay, Patricia said great story. Oh no, Linda says the cable company left the gate open and my elderly dog Trooper, a former top winning show dog, got out last year. Many people searched and we never found him. Can you tell me what happened to him? Linda, that's something that would have to be done in the form of a reading. I'm so sorry that you lost him. And I'll tell you, I actually put locks on my gates. I've heard so many stories, and I know that, you know, they probably have a right of way or an easement or whatever, but I wouldn't want to let them around unless I was home, because it just sounds terrible. It's heart-wrenching. And we can tune in a reading, but I would want to take a bit of history, see a picture, you know, spend half an hour tuning in, and then spend some time on the phone with you. That's how we do it. Christina says, I have a young pit bull lab mix that suffers from extreme anxiety. Is there something other than prescription meds? And as much comforting and love as I can give him, I'm constantly reassuring him that he is home forever and will always provide him food, love, and care. So, okay, so here's the thing, and this is good timing. CBD oil is phenomenal for anxiety in humans. Okay, I don't know how it is for animals. And it is some people who have anxiety and take CBD oil, notice a difference within like 15 minutes or less. It's not something you have to build up in your system. And CBD oil, just so you guys are all clear, there's no, you know, it's not like smoking marijuana, okay? It's different. All of the part that alters your, you know, whatever, the part that impairs you in marijuana is not in CBD oil. It's not the same as medical marijuana. It's two different things. You know, like in the U.S., marijuana isn't legal in a lot of states, but they still sell CBD oil in the health food stores, you know. So I would try CBD oil 100%. I would, you know, if there's any way you could come into my animal energy certification training, you would learn so many tools and have so many things that you could do with him. Like, it's kind of like, you know, there's a ball of energy that's a bit, you know, intense, and your dog's in the middle, and we need to kind of work some of that off so that your dog can just flow and breathe and feel safe and feel comfortable. And there's so much in that training, and it's very in-depth. If you want to know about the training, sign up for the free animal communication. Whoa, something just started talking. Hang on, this is so strange. My computer's talking. Give me 1 second. I don't know how that happened. Holy moly. That is the strangest thing I have ever experienced. My computer is locked shut, and a video started playing on YouTube. Who knew? I had to sign in to even get on there. Oh my gosh. So yes, I would try that, Christina. There's all kinds of things that would help. Renee is saying, I had my dog put to sleep. She was old. Did I make the right decision? Sorry, now my puppy, who's in her X-Pen behind me, heard that voice and thinks there's someone in the house. Pixie, it's okay, sweetie. It's okay. Be good. She's in the X-Pen because she's 1 year old, and who knows what she'd be doing. As soon as she knows that my attention is completely on something else, she is, you know, she'd be chewing electrical wires and playing tug of war with my pant leg or whatever. As soon as she knows I can't give her my attention. So Renee, I want to say that, you know, our animal companions read what's in our heart. And I know that if you felt it was the right time to put your dog to sleep, I know that you made the right decision. I have never had an animal, upset about that kind of thing. Becky says, I have 2 sister dogs that will fight now. I have to keep them separate. One is 2 years older than the other. The youngest one grew up with her older sister. The fighting started after they both came into heat at the same time. Any ideas on how to stop this? Yes, have them spayed. As soon as, unless you're breeding dogs, I mean, I would do it. Female dogs are always the ones that fight. It's so funny. I used to, in my mind, think it was male dogs that fought and male dogs that were tricky. But I've had clients with 4 or 5 female dogs, and I mean, it was constant. We'd have to keep doing work with them to stop them. You can also stop them. If you come into the animal energy certification training, you can absolutely learn techniques to work with them. But the way nature is, the female, unspayed females, they are bossy. They don't call them bitches for nothing, or they don't use that term as a derogatory term when not referring to dogs for nothing. It is part of their issue. Yeah, and Jana says Young Living Oils have a line for dogs and cats. That's separate than, they have a line of CBD oil or they have a line of essential oils. Always, if you're going to use essential oils on your dog, I do, but always know make sure you're checking out what to do. Let's see. CBD oil has no THC, correct. It might have trace. I think it has trace, but not enough that would affect them. Christina said I would love to do that. I'm not sure if that you mean that joining my animal energy certification training. I'll just give a really couple second commercial here. Okay. The animal energy certification training is my passion. It's what I live for, really. And it's as much about, it's a number of things. It's learning to communicate with the animals. It's giving you a healing modality that you can use for humans and animals. It's also a self-healing modality, so you can use it on yourself. It's a way to grow spiritually, to transform, to open up your psychic gifts, and it's a way to just, really, it's like you'll be a different person once you come out the other side. A way to have a group of people, an amazing group of people at your disposal in the private group, private secret group, which is the group just for the students that I'm a part of. You have students, like if your dog needs a little bit of extra TLC, or your cat or your horse, you can write in and put a picture of your dog or cat or horse and say, would you guys send extra energy? She's having surgery today, or whatever. There's a challenge going on, and the other students help. To certify, you actually do case studies, and there's people in the program. The starting date is whenever you start. We've had people starting for the last 3 years plus, and it's pretty amazing. So I just want to say that, and some people come in just for their own sake because they want to learn this for their own animals. Some come in because they want the spiritual growth and personal transformation for themselves. Some come in to help out rescues. Some come in because they're veterinarians and they want to have another side beside the medical side. It's not a replacement for medical care, but it certainly is an amazing partner with medical care, with veterinary care. Some come in because they breed horses, or they race, or they do something like that, or they train. We've had a lot of people who are trainers, pet sitters, etc. It really does make the world a better place. Okay. Oh, Deborah says, I just lost Elvis. Is he okay? Please come through. Our love, we're sending our love to you, Deborah. I know how hard that is. And I want to let you know that any animal that sorry, I just saw Linda said maybe Pixie Rose turned it on. She thinks she runs the world, but she's behind me in the computers that way. But yes, she might have willed it on so I'd get up. That is I've never in my life, I've had Siri start talking back to me when I wasn't even near my phone. I was walking through the kitchen once and Siri started saying something to me, and I was like, that's kind of spooky. Anyways, Deborah, back to Elvis. Sorry, I didn't mean to get distracted by that. He's fine. I've never had an animal that isn't, and you just keep asking him for signs, for connection, and just feel him. Feel where he would be if he was with you. Okay. Hey, Nancy. Hi. Hi, Renee. Patty Joe says, my Weezer passed away a month ago tomorrow. He was 10 months, my boy. We'll send you some love. To all of you who have lost. Becky says, I will spay for sure. You know what? Spayed females get along better. You know, first of all, you know, I had this thing. My Pixie Rose is 3 pounds. She's the one who's started barking there when my computer started talking. It was some guy talking about RVs on YouTube, and I was like, I guess it was the next video up, but I've never had one start like that. It's kind of like, that's probably a sign. You know what? I didn't pay attention to who we had just been talking to, but any of you who have animals on the other side, that could have been their sign, because that is physically not explainable. I am nowhere near it. It's not a Mac. It's got no voice recognition or anything like that. It's just a regular PC. So it's a message. I know it is. It was so surprising to me. I'm like, how can my computer be talking? The first thing I heard when I heard the voice was, oh no, here we go with Siri again. But I'm looking right at my phone. It wasn't coming from this way. So yes. So I had to decide whether or not to spay Pixie, and she's 3 pounds. And she just got spayed 2 weeks ago yesterday. And she came through it swimmingly. She was actually wild and crazy the next morning, almost by next afternoon, not quite morning. Less than 24 hours after, she was back to her old self, and then I had to worry about keeping her quiet for 2 weeks. But, you know, animals who are spayed, female dogs who are spayed, they don't have the same risk of pyometria, which is a terrible infection and can take them right out and kill them. They don't have the risk of the mammary tumors, because in nature, you know, people say, well, it's natural for them to go through heat and have all their parts. Yes, it is. But in nature, when they're in the natural world, they don't go through heat and not get pregnant unless they're, you know, infertile. No dog goes through heat. There's enough candidates to make sure they get pregnant, okay? So the thing that happens in captivity, of course, Pixie went through one heat. She didn't get pregnant, of course, because she's too small to have puppies anyways. But the thing about it, when something like that happens, is that then after she didn't get pregnant, after the heat, around the time she would have been having puppies, she developed a false pregnancy, and she had all these mammary lumps, and they were huge, and they can get mastitis, and it can get pretty complex. It can number one, really be dangerous. Like mastitis can be extremely dangerous for one thing, and then for a second thing, it can be extremely costly, both of those conditions for you guys. So Becky says, I love alchemy. Thank you. Patty Joe Justice says, love my Scotties. Woohoo. Yeah. Nancy says it's not healthy for them not to be fixed. And you know what? There is, you know, that was always the thought. And now some of the more holistic vets are saying, you know, they're having different opinions on it. And even my allopathic vets, that certain breeds, they're realizing that they might do better with the hormones, and not having the hormones are causing other issues. But, wow. That's interesting. Sorry. So yeah, so you know, I think it's easier all around on everybody if they're fixed, if you're not breeding, you know. So Becky says there were orbs in the top corner of your something room on the left. So you guys are probably looking at me. I'm not sure if you mean that side or that side, but yeah, there's something going on here, because there's no way that computer can start talking. I've had computers since they were first came out, personal computers, and I've had laptops for years, and I've never had a laptop start talking. On YouTube, when the screen was locked, I had to start keying my password in and unlocking and waking up my my screen. So okay, let me go. Please send Sweet Pea my love. That's sweet. Sargie liked to go with us camping. Oh, year left. So it went over your head and toward the room where you went to turn off your computer. Yeah, that's actually my dining room, and I have my office in my dining room because I wish I could show you my view, but I'm scared I'll screw it up if I switch it around. But I am in Arizona, and I look out on this expansive space and have mountains behind me. I've done a couple of videos out there that you could find on YouTube. And it happened when I came back. That's so interesting. I do have a new light, which is screwing up my glasses. So hey, one of the things I mentioned our big exciting Animal Communication and Healing Week that's going to start on October 30th. It's going to actually be 5 days in a row with 5 lives where I'm teaching different topics and just putting all the teaching together. And so just move some texts are coming through, and I want to be sure that you guys mark your calendars. There's going to be huge giveaways then. One of the things that really helps me to keep doing this for you guys is if you share my videos. That like, share, comment, all of those things give me a boost on Facebook, which makes it worth my while and my team's while, to be putting these together and making sure they happen. Okay, so let's see. Sue says, lost my 12-year-old Bichon 2 weeks ago suddenly. Had to put him to sleep due to renal failure. Any messages? Oh, Sue, I'm so sorry. That's such a hard thing. And, that kidney failure, certain things like that can come on so quickly. It's like instantaneous, and I'm so sorry. My sister had to put her Westie down, who had kidney failure. It came on, and she rallied a little bit, but it was always a bit tricky. And then she had to have fluids, and she didn't really want the fluids, and then she just went down, and she had to be euthanized. To do actual messages from your dog, I'd need to do a reading because I'd want to tune in. I'd want to tune in and really, we'd have to do it under a private reading with either me or one of my senior associates. But I'm so sorry. Sending you all the love. And know that whenever they cross any of our animal companions, they're always fine. So I want you to all know that. Camille says, I really miss my palms. So I'm going to answer maybe a couple more questions if there are a couple more. So if you have a question you'd like to have answered, please type it down. And if there's any topics you guys are really keen, I'm putting together the topics for the teaching in the Animal Communication and Healing Week. And the big exciting part is we're going to be giving away over $3,500 worth of products and programs. So please let me know what topics you guys are mostly interested in. Marie is asking, what can I do for my dog's itching problem? So that is the $1 million question, Marie. There are lots of things you can do, and some will help and some may not. Carly has a skin problem, and I've done so much. I have done years. What I would do mostly, first of all, is I would find a holistic vet who does traditional Chinese medicine and acupuncture, one who is excellent at it, possibly trained with David Marsden, I believe is his name, up in Edmonton, Canada, Edmonton, Alberta. So I would find a vet like that. I would get on a completely natural diet. I would probably get the Nutriscan test by Dr. Dodds done for food sensitivities. I would clean up the environment as much as you can. I did over 2 years. I did about combined 4 years, 2 on homeopathy with up to 12 remedies a day, and 2 years on traditional Chinese medicine and acupuncture for Carly, and working with diet and all kinds of things. It's been a tricky thing. Most are not as hard to solve as Carly's. So I hope that you can have help with that. And there's techniques and tools in the Animal Energy Certification training that you learn that's also going to help you. Patricia says, is the kidney failure more common today because of the toxic chemicals in foods and water? I don't know specifically if it's more common today or not. You'd have to ask a vet about that. But certainly toxins, physical toxins, Marty, whatever your question is, I can't read the last word. How can I? So if you can retype that. Oh, okay, you did. I see you did. Okay, so it can be physical toxins. It can be energetic toxins. It can be emotional and mental toxins, and toxic environment. I don't mean the outside environment, but the energetics, going on. The animals are helping us. They're clearing for us. They're like sponges pulling, energies and things out of us, which can help them get more disease, sadly. So, let's see. Carla says, my daughter's cat Charlie got outside and died. Is she okay? I can guarantee you any of our animal companions that have crossed over are fine. They cross so easily, and they're just like flying. They're like angels instantaneously, and they're always around us as well. How can I stop my dog from barking at everyone that walks by? So, Marty, that's also one that I've been very familiar dealing with, because I have a barker, my Carly, who happens to be asleep right now, thank goodness. And for, the most important thing is to figure out what is going on. Is your dog trying to protect you? Is your dog overstimulated by those who are walking by? Carly, I lived in a house on a corner, and the windows came down below my knees, and Carly's a little Maltese, and she would bark like crazy at everything, that cars, people, you name it, dogs, the wind, nothing, inanimate objects. And she was overstimulated in that house, and I wanted to move, but before I moved, they were windows with those bars in them, and the bars and everything were painted white, so I actually got some white material. It was like foam core or something, cool, whatever. And I had my handyman put it in with just little dots of this clear, like gel stuff that peels off, and cover the bottom rung of it all, and it looked nice from the outside and the inside. And her barking almost went down to nothing, because she was overstimulated on that corner. Now we've moved houses where in more close to nature, and she's a lot better. Okay, Francois says, if you could talk about dog food, which ones are the best? Raw food diets, treats, etc. Sometimes you think you give them the best, even if you pay big bucks, but it isn't always the case. What should we be looking for? So, raw is great, and human grade cooked food is great. I'm not really crazy about any kibbles or any like processed foods, because it's kind of like us eating McDonald's. And the treat I give my dog is dehydrated bison lung. It's like crack to them. They don't need any other treats other than something like that. So if treats have, 15, 20, 30 ingredients in them, there's always, items in there that could be suspect. So, you can make your own dog treats with really good ingredients. I believe completely in a grain-free diet for dogs. Grains, there's nothing in grains that dogs need. And there's nothing, like, dogs don't naturally eat grains. They will if they're put in front of them. But some food companies are just, there's still dogs dying from tainted dog food in this day and age after all that huge big stink about 10 or more years ago. So I think the least number of ingredients. I like raw a lot, and I fed Jigs raw. Now Carly loved raw for a while, and then she went right off it and wouldn't eat it, so I fed her home cooked food. And now she's on it's a commercial brand called My Perfect Pet. Pixie Rose is on it too. It's human grade food, partially cooked. So it's not cooked all the way like a human would eat it, and it's all really amazing ingredients. So that's one that I like, but there's lots of great raw ones out there, but you don't have to feed raw. Like if you have babies and they're in there crawling around and putting their hand in the bowl and putting their fingers in their mouths, they could get salmonella. Some people worry about it. I've never seen it be a problem. So if you guys like these Q&As and you want me to keep them coming, please send lots of hearts, give me some comments, put a heart in the comments. The more comments we have, the better ranking we get for our videos. So and I will keep doing them, because it's really what I love to do anyhow. So don't forget, October 30th for 5 days. So 30th, 31st, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. We're going to be giving away over over $3,500 worth, I believe, of products and programs, and it's going to be a teaching opportunity. So don't forget to sign up for our free Making the Heart Connection if you haven't already. The link is in the thread. Raya posted it, and please sign up for our webinar. If you're interested at all in getting into the Animal Energy Certification Training Program, sign up for our free Animal Communication and Healing webinar, because it's a learning experience in itself, but it also gives you lots of information about, it's where I introduce the program. If you're interested in the psychic development, sign up for our Accuracy on Demand webinar, which is where I introduce my psychic development program. And I love having you on here. Thank you all so much for coming and for your great questions. And it was really cool to have my computer turn on and have some orbs in the sky. So we obviously had some visiting energies, and they were here to say hello to you. So if you feel it in your heart that that message was for you, then you know that that is the case. So I love all of you. Abundant blessings. Bye-bye.